Salvete, ego non sum magistra, sed sum discipula, et lingua latinam locutur. Amor per linguam latina sentimus. Quomodo dicitur. Sine doctrina vita quasi mortis imago. Sed no litimere. Ex mea sententia per nostra existentia discit.
Welcome to the Days and Confused podcast with your host, Diana Kaomi.
Okay, I am not completely sure if what I was trying to say it's grammatically correct. Latin can be a challenging language to learn, especially with all the possible terminations and conjugation of the words. One termination in instead of UR can change the entire meaning of the sentence. And if you don't know Latin, of course, this is gonna sound so boring, or maybe not relatable, not understandable. That's fine. This is not the episode where we get technical about Latin grammar, but where we fail forward. So here are some lessons that I have learned while learning Latin. Unlearning, it's a brain exercise. While I was taking my Latin classes, I realized that I wanted to translate everything. I wanted to translate in and associate the words with the things that I already knew. And that has been proven to be not an efficient method. And that's the traditional method that we all know to learn a new language. But it's not the most efficient way. My teachers and the Institute of Latin that I study at actually uses a different approach. And it was so much easier for me to understand everything. So a big part of that process was also unlearning and learning simultaneously. So learning to unlearn has been a big part of this journey, not only in my goal to have Latin as my third language, like a legit third language, like next thing you know, I'm going to be interviewing people in Latin, full-on conversations, because that's the goal. The goal is to be a fluid speaker and reader. And of course, everything is interconnected. The way that we do anything is the way that we do everything. So I want you to think about in what areas of your life you have to perhaps take a step back and unlearn so that you can better learn new things. The other big lesson was being patient with yourself is a form of self-love. And this one, yes, it can be a lot. It can be a lot to process for my people that I love, my people that operate in a basis of anger and rage. But I promise you that being patient with yourself can actually help you achieve progress even further, if it makes sense. So one action has the power to create a domino effect. So choosing to be patient and loving with ourselves as we learn a new language or anything else really, it makes an impact in your rapport and your relationship with yourself. We're building a relationship with ourselves that nobody taught us how to do. We are blessed to be living in a generation where all of this material to learn anything really is accessible to us. yes, sometimes can be overwhelming. Who do I listen to? Who really who really has the best interest at heart? But I feel like you know in your heart when you vibe with someone and when you don't, when a message resonates with you and when it doesn't. So that's why I'm always encouraging like to take what resonates with you and drop what doesn't, and to always question stuff. So this is not a sponsored podcast yet, but I am fully happy with the Ancient Language Institute and what they are doing, the way that they're teaching, the way their classes are structured, the way that it keeps engaged, the way the professors carry themselves and lead the classes as well. It's a different learning environment from what you're traditionally used to, I would say. Definitely go check them out if you're interested in learning Latin or Greek or Hebrew, Hebreo. I'm sorry if I have a really hard time pronouncing that word with my Spanish speaking pronunciations. I keep wanting to say Hebrew because, in Spanish we don't pronounce the H, but I think it's Hebrew. But yeah, so it's called Ancient Language Institute. Go check them out. So on top of giving my two biggest lessons learned, that I thought it was going to be a really good idea for a podcast episode because they ignite the same topics of conversation for self-development, for philosophical thinking, and that's what we're all about here in this podcast, Dazed and Confused. So, on top of that, I have my 7 steps to learn new languages. It's number 1, writing things down. However that may seem to you, I love personally to write the pronunciation of certain words. So, for example, I really struggle with my B's, not like the B of Bravo, but like the B of Bulbo. So yeah, so in Latin, my B sounds like a W, like my we would typically be like, and the closest hack that I wrote down is that it's pronounced kind of like how Germans pronounce their W's. Like their W's, they read them as like we, like when, and you, like a. I am not an expert yet, but I will be. I just have to keep practicing. Okay, number 2, I have having mental conversations. Sounds a little bit weird, but who doesn't really talk to themselves? Honestly. So pretending to talk fluently of the things that I'm learning with myself or in conversations, or maybe I like to talk to Alexis even though he's like, no, I really don't understand anything you're saying. Number 3, watch TV in a new language. And I know before you ask, before you even say it, I'm already pointing a finger at you. There is a bunch of YouTube videos that technically you could airstream into the TV. So you can literally watch in your TV Latin videos. And there's like readings, guided readings. There's like kind of like videos with illustration to how to learn new stuff, where they're teaching you stuff, and it's very intuitive. So they start talking to you fully in Latin, but they're pointing at the stuff that they're referring to. So that's kind of how you start, like associating what the meaning of the words are. And I love that approach, honestly, because that's the way that if you think about it, that's the way how you learn your mother language. When you're a kid, you're pointing at stuff and you have your parent teaching you, like, this means agua. Agua. Are you thirsty? Agua. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Number 4, connecting with people that speak that language. And yes, there is a community of a lot of people that are learning Latin, and there's a Reddit forum that I'm part of, obviously. And there is like communities, there is a bunch of articles, and I mean, writers or journalists, and I'm not sure if they're polyglots that, are having this conversation, even podcasts in Latin. And I love that. I love how accessible it's becoming. Number 5, think in that language, not translate. That is the advice that my supervisor from high school gave to me when I was having a hard time in like speaking in English. She was like, do not translate before you talk. That's the way that we're, I'm telling you, that's the traditional academic method that we're taught. So she was like, do not translate before you speak. Think in English. So now I feel like I have finally, like this year, like this is the year that I feel like my brain has started to like dream in English, to speak in English, and obviously there has been multiple factors. For example, you guys, I've been saying it from episode 1 that this podcast is for me to expand my comfort zone and to speak and practice English, and interview new people, and also getting advice, and recording, documenting everything, my process, my journey, my life. So this one, number 5, it's really, really important. I cannot stress that one enough. Think in that language. Do not translate it. And I know it's hard because I'm telling you, that was a part of the unlearning for me. It's like, oh, don't go there. Don't go there. When I was reading my homework before the first class, that's exactly what I did. But that's because I hadn't had been taught with their method, right? So I'm learning to do that, and learning to not translate. It was very hard for me. It still very is, but I believe in the power of this step because I've personally seen the results of doing that. Number 6, add visuals to your vocabulary. It helps really good with memorization. So that's the way that I was telling you about the YouTube videos. That's the way that they are teaching you with the visuals. It's like we're pointing at the sky, and I'm telling you, nubes estén cailo, and all you're seeing it's clouds in the sky. So it's like, oh, so I guess the clouds are in the sky. That's what you're trying to tell me. And it's so easy to draw the connection. So whatever it is, the language that you want to learn, I really believe in that one as well. I'm also somebody that's very visual, so photographic memory, it's really a thing for me. I think I was reading an article the other day that the debunking the myth of photographic memory, but I'm still gonna call it that. Whatever the science is behind that, that it may be different from what we call photographic. It's still like, I know that it's a very real reality. Visual, there is such thing as learning visually. So whatever the correct terminology it is for that, for the visual people like me, visuals. I said it too fast and now I feel like it's a tongue twister. Okay. Number 7. Practice. I know. It's intuitive and counterintuitive by nature. So it's both. Because DC, quid omnia fac vincit, which roughly translate to Diana Cano, she who does it all triumphs. Even though I don't feel confident 100% of the time, and I don't have all the answers 100% of the time, I still have my conviction, and those actions that I'm taking with conviction. So I want you to remember that, because I want you to invite you here right now today. No matter the goal that you set up to, try it all to make it happen. That's it. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for joining me this week. If you enjoyed this episode, give us a like, a share, or a review on Spotify or any platform you're listening to us from. Make sure to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And if you simply would like to tell a friend about the show, tag me. I would love to see your reposts and thoughts. Have a wonderful week. Sending you energetic strength your way, no matter what you're going through. I believe in you. So fight back.